Hello guys, in this video we are going to understand the basic common terminologies that we use for airflow. So let's start. So first of all, let's understand the basic definition of airflow. Uh, Airflow is a platform that lets you build and run workflows. Now, what is a workflow? A workflow defines any logical sequence of a work that you do to complete that work. For example, if we go to the office daily, first of all, we wake up in the morning, and after waking up, we brush our teeth and we take bath, and after taking bath, we take breakfast and dress up, and after dressing up, we leave for the office and we use bus to go there, and once we arrive at the office, we enter the office and then we go to our desk. And this is our workflow of going to the office. So this is our workflow in our from our daily life. Same, if we want to perform some data engineering tasks or some other workflows, then we can use Airflow for that. And that is a workflow. Now, to define or represent a workflow, we use DAG representation for it. Now, what is a DAG? A DAG is a directed acyclic graph, and it contains individual pieces of work called tasks. Now, you can see the diagram of DAG here. Now, so first of all, we need to understand what is acyclic graph mean. So in acyclic graph, we move forward uh, and in unidirectional way. So we cannot move backward. We must move forward. For example, this is a task ingesting the data maybe, and once the data has been ingested, we move to another task, and then after analyzing it, we move to this check integrity task, and after that, we move to save task and describe integrity task together, and then the flow moves forward. But we cannot get back to the old task that will become a cyclic graph. So we must move in a unidirectional way and we cannot move in a bidirectional way. So that will be a cyclic graph. But in Airflow, we use DAG, which is a directed acyclic graph. So we can move only in one direction, that is a forward direction, and we cannot point, for example, this analyze task from any of the child tasks. So that will become a cycle, and that will break the definition of a cyclic graph. So this is a DAG, and a DAG consists of multiple tasks. For example, ingest is a task, analyze is a task, and this is a task, this is a task, this is a task, and everything is a task that we define in the DAG. So now let's see what are the type of tasks that Airflow provides us. So there are basically two types of tasks. One is operator and the other one is sensors. So Airflow operators are used to perform any actions or execute any actions. For example, extracting payment information from an email received. Now, if we talk about the equivalent d- uh, level for the sensors, then sensors are the type of tasks that waits for for an external event to happen first. For example, if we are talking about extracting payment information from an email received in Airflow operators, that is the action-based task. So it is obligatory and prerequisite that email must be received before performing any extracting payment information action on it. So if we haven't received any email yet, how can we perform this action? So Airflow sensors allow us to wait for for a payment email to be received in your inbox before performing this extracting payment information action. So these are the two tasks. So sensors helps help us to wait for an external event to happen. For example, I gave you this example. Until the email is received, we cannot extract payment information from it. So these this is the first example. Now the next example I would give is, for example, we want to perform data analysis over a CSV file. Now, for that CSV file, it must exist before we perform data analysis uh, operation over it. But how can we make sure that uh, that a CSV file exists in any folder or not where we want to perform our data analysis? Then we can use Airflow sensors for it that will help us sense whether whether a CSV file has been arrived in in that folder or not. Once it is arrived, the sensor will throw uh, some hints for Airflow, and it will sense it, and then it will allow us to perform the next action that is performing data analysis over that CSV file. And the third example would be, for example, if we want to trigger a, a child DAG, that is a DAG B, from DAG A where we are standing, then we can check from the sensor, and a sensor can check whether DAG B is already running or not. So our condition is, if DAG B is already running, then do not trigger another instance of DAG B. But if it is not running, then trigger it. So the sensors will help us to monitor the state of DAG B. Once it is completed, then it will allow us, or it will give us some logic that we define there, or any true false value, then that we can use to take decision whether to trigger DAG B from DAG A. So this is the example 3. And for example, if we talk about a semantic model that is a Power BI semantic model that is dependent on the file. So once the file is updated or arrives, we can perform the refreshing activity for the semantic model. So this is another example for it. So this is from the Airflow task side. Now we have some basic components of Airflow that we must require for running Airflow. So we have already seen in our installation videos, and we have set up everything there. But for deeper understanding, let's see. So we have these four components that are must in Airflow for Airflow to run. So the first one is a scheduler. Now a scheduler reads the folder of DAG files, and it decides what task to run and when. So whatever we define in our DAG files, the scheduler reads that from these DAG files, and then it schedules those tasks, and then gives to it scheduler gives those tasks to the executor, and executor is responsible for running those tasks. And once the tasks are completed, it returns the status, or if it fails, it also returns the status. And if we want to see all those from our eyes, then Airflow provides us the web server, where we can see all the DAG related information. For example, which instance of the DAG was failed and which was successful. We can see that from that web server, which we already have set. And the metadata database stores all this information related to task and Airflow workflows. So this is the basic structure of the components that you can understand for improvising your theoretical concepts. And let me show you an example of a web server interface, that is a user interface. So we have already seen in our installation videos, and we have already set up all these things. So you can watch those videos and set up Airflow for yourself. And this is how a basic UI of Airflow looks like. So this is it. And if you have any further questions, you can comment down below the video, so I will answer your questions. And if you have liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe and also hit a like button. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.